It is very important for you to get to know your flute. And one of the aspects of getting to know the flute is removing and tying down the fetish, removing it, cleaning underneath it, and just getting to know your flute, just to see how it even works. Now, the challenge here is to make sure you untie the flute. And basically, the knots that we tie on our flute are very, very tight because we want that fetish to be on there really snug. As you blow air into here, it goes up underneath, and there's a little slot underneath the fetish, and it blows the air across the sharp edge, right across the fipple. Well, if the fetish is not tied on tight, it will leak all the way around here, not giving you all the air you need to create a nice, clean, pure sound. So the way to untie the fetish is I went ahead into the kitchen, and I got a fork. Any pointed instrument would work. Basically, we're using that to go ahead and loosen the knots. So just put your fork or your pointed instrument in there just to loosen things up a little bit, so you can go ahead and get the knots nice and untied. It's important to pay attention to how you untie the knots so that you maybe get a better sense of how to retie them. So, look at it and see how it was done. So again, I put the fork inside the little lace and I pull it out. Just like that. Just loosen it up. And we do tie them tie them down quite a bit. So it may take a second to really loosen them up. There we go. Put the fork inside there, the point, and pull. There we go. So now we're taking off the decorative piece. That really is not there to hold the flute down. And then it's the final knot of the lace that actually holds the fetish down. Unwrap it. And you'll see that there's a rubber band holding the fetish. We do that so that it makes sure it's nice and tight. As I said earlier, it will not cause any leaks. Go ahead and remove the fetish from underneath the rubber band and get a chance to look at it. You'll see the fetish has its air passage right in here, carved underneath it. And it has the air hole that's underneath the fetish. The air goes in here, comes up underneath the fetish, and then goes right across the sharp edge fipple. It's good to get familiar with that, just to get a sense of how the flute actually works. When you have a mental picture of it, it'll really help you to play. Now to retie it, put the rubber band right back over the middle of the air hole, lift it up, go ahead and put your fetish underneath, and position the fetish approximately where you want that. And where you want that is right at the edge of the fipple hole, the sound hole. You never have it be over the sound hole. Have it be right at the edge or just slightly back. It doesn't have to be perfect right now because we'll be able to adjust it later on. Go ahead and take your lace and place it right back on to where you started, and you'll notice the lace has some wrinkles in it where it was tied into knots. So that's a good place to start. So you'll be able to get it right back on where it was. Go ahead and start wrapping it over the rubber band nice and snug. Use your fingers to hold it all together and continue to keep pressure on it. There we go. That's the last one. And go ahead and hold it together with both your fingers and your forefinger and your thumb, and put a knot in it and make it nice and snug. The first knot is really important because that's the one that holds everything together. So give it a nice tug, and basically the fetish is on. Then you can secure it with a secondary tie. Now it's nice and snug. Then you have the option of putting the decorative piece on there as well, right over the top. And then once you're finished with it, you can always readjust it a little bit, just exactly where you want it. But that's the basis of tying a fetish back on.